Have you ever woken up with a sense of dread, the day stretching ahead, yet you feel an invisible weight holding you down? You know exactly what you should be doing, that project at work, a challenging conversation you've been putting off, or finally committing to a healthier lifestyle. But instead of action, you find yourself caught in a cycle of procrastination, justifying delays with "I'll start tomorrow," or "I just don't have the energy." If this feeling of being stuck, of watching opportunities slip away while you remain rooted in action, sounds familiar, you're certainly not alone. Many of us, especially as we navigate the complexities of midlife, grapple with this internal battle, where the gap between intention and action feels insurmountable. But what if the key to breaking free isn't about finding more motivation, but about unlocking an inner strength you already possess? Or perhaps you've looked around at colleagues, friends, or even public figures and wondered, how do they seem to maintain such remarkable calm and steady focus amidst the relentless demands of life? As we juggle careers, family responsibilities, financial pressures, and the constant barrage of information, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, like a ship tossed by turbulent waves. Yet some individuals appear unshakable, navigating challenges with a quiet confidence that inspires respect. It's not about being emotionless or immune to stress. It's about cultivating a profound inner resilience, a mental fortress that protects your peace and clarity regardless of external circumstances. Imagine being that person, someone who doesn't just survive adversity, but grows stronger because of it. This isn't a fantasy reserved for a select few. It's a learnable skill, a philosophy of life accessible to anyone willing to embrace it. And for those of us in the 35 to 45 age bracket, you've likely accumulated a wealth of life experience, perhaps even achieved significant milestones. Yet, beneath the surface, there can be a nagging question. Is this all there is? Or the sting of past failures that still resonate, holding you back from truly pushing your boundaries? Whether it's a career plateau, a personal setback, or simply the feeling that you're not living up to your full potential, this stage of life often presents unique challenges to our self-belief. It's a time when many seek deeper meaning, greater impact, and a renewed sense of purpose. But how do you reignite that spark, cultivate unwavering self-trust, and build a mind truly capable of achieving what you deeply desire, especially when the demands on your time and energy seem greater than ever before? Welcome to StoicCraft, where we delve into the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy to provide practical tools for modern life's most pressing challenges. If you're ready to dismantle self-doubt, fortify your spirit, and genuinely believe in your inherent power to shape your destiny, then you've found your community. Let's explore how you can cultivate a mind so robust, so unshakable, that it becomes a source of quiet strength, not just for yourself, but for those around you. 1. Start now. There's no perfect tomorrow. What exactly are you waiting for? A day when the stars align perfectly, when every obstacle magically disappears, when laziness and procrastination vanish into thin air? Wake up to this undeniable truth. That elusive, ideal day will simply never arrive. We all know this in our hearts, yet how often do we still find ourselves uttering those tempting, deceptive words? I'll start tomorrow. This tomorrow isn't a genuine plan. It's a soothing lie we tell ourselves to momentarily ease the discomfort of our present inaction. Consider the story of David, a driven individual who harbored grand aspirations. He envisioned launching his own consulting firm, transforming his physical health, becoming a voracious reader, and cultivating an ironclad discipline in every facet of his life. But he was perpetually in a state of anticipation, waiting for his current demanding projects to subside, waiting for a surge of creative inspiration, waiting for motivation to miraculously appear. One day, a stark realization hit him with chilling clarity. An entire decade had slipped by. He was still precisely where he began, trapped in the same patterns, still promising himself a future that stubbornly refused to materialize. Does David's experience resonate with you? Do you recognize yourself caught in this insidious loop of endless postponement? It's crucial to confront this uncomfortable truth. Your problem isn't a scarcity of time. On the contrary, you likely possess an abundance of it. What you genuinely lack is unwavering determination and an unyielding commitment to discipline. You refrain from taking action, not because you are physically incapable, but because you instinctively recoil from the inherent discomfort and the inevitable challenges that accompany genuine effort. You yearn for the path of least resistance, for effortless progress, but life, in its fundamental nature, simply does not operate that way. Seneca, that profound voice of ancient Stoicism, sagely observed, "While we are postponing, life speeds. By every single moment you spend waiting, life relentlessly presses forward, and before you know it, opportunities and aspirations have surged far beyond your reach." Internalize this profound insight. A truly perfect beginning is a myth. There will invariably be reasons for hesitation, legitimate or otherwise. You will consistently feel a sense of inadequacy, perhaps unprepared, lacking sufficient experience, or simply not good enough. Yet no one is ever truly, perfectly ready for the pivotal moments of life. Readiness is not a prerequisite. It is a profound outcome. You cultivate skill through consistent practice. You accrue experience by boldly immersing yourself. You achieve growth by taking decisive action, even when the path is unclear. You might counter, "But what if I stumble? What if I fail spectacularly?" Let me offer you this vital perspective. Failure, in its essence, will not obliterate you. However, the relentless grip of procrastination will assuredly suffocate your dreams. Fear is, at its core, merely a shadow. It wields power only if you willingly grant it control over your actions and decisions. But if you choose to act, if you dare to step forward, if you courageously embrace full responsibility for the trajectory of your life, that shadow of fear will gradually recede, losing its suffocating grip. It may never entirely vanish, but it will no longer possess the power to paralyze you. Recall the timeless parable of the servant in the Bible, entrusted with precious talents to invest. While two diligently and wisely multiplied their shares, the third, consumed by fear, chose to bury his portion deep within the earth. Upon his master's return, the servant was reprimanded not for any loss, but for his profound inaction. What are you truly doing with the talents and opportunities bestowed upon you? Are you actively leveraging them, or are you burying them beneath layers of hesitation, self-doubt, and fear? What is that singular endeavor you yearn to undertake? To author a book? To launch a bold new venture? To master a complex skill? To fundamentally reshape your daily habits? No one, absolutely no one, genuinely cares about what you intend to do. The sole metric that holds any true significance is whether you courageously do it. Do you crave genuine transformation? Then act right now. Open your laptop and meticulously type the very first sentence. Lace up your shoes and step into the gym. Initiate that challenging phone call you've meticulously avoided for months. Take immediate, decisive action. There is no such thing as a perfect moment. There is only perfect action. And perfect action is simply action that is taken without delay. In this very instant dot, when tomorrow inevitably dawns, will you once again whisper, "I'll start tomorrow"? Or will you seize the reins of the present and act decisively today? The profound choice, my friend, rests entirely within your hands. But always remember, there is but one authentic path to genuine greatness, and that path is meticulously paved with consistent, unwavering action. And that transformative journey for you commences precisely in the very first conscious moment of each new day. 2. Win the morning, win the day. Who are you, truly, the very instant your alarm clock pierces the silence of dawn? Are you the one who almost instinctively reaches out to silence it, drifting back into the seductive embrace of sleep? Or are you the one who, with resolute determination, rises to greet the world head-on? Do you permit your precious willpower to crumble and dissipate in the initial seconds of your day? Or do you seize complete command from the very first breath? Honestly ask yourself, are you consciously living like a true winner, or are you, perhaps unknowingly, surrendering to defeat in the ongoing narrative of your own life? Time, that most impartial of masters, waits for no one. It neither cares nor caters to your weariness, your fleeting lack of motivation, or your passing emotional states. You either exert your mastery over it, or it will inevitably, relentlessly crush you under its relentless march. And this pivotal dynamic, this grand battle for control, commences with an incredibly simple, yet profoundly powerful moment. The precise instant you open your eyes each morning. Picture a seasoned warrior about to stride onto the battlefield, his armor hanging loose, his weapons slipping precariously from his grasp, his mind clouded by indecision and doubt. Does such a warrior stand even a remote chance of achieving victory? Absolutely not. And in a surprisingly analogous way, this is precisely how many of us approach our days. We linger in bed, rush through a chaotic morning routine, scramble to catch up, and then, with perplexing bewilderment, wonder why we consistently feel exhausted, devoid of motivation, and perpetually stuck in a rut. You cannot possibly hope to conquer a day that has already delivered a decisive defeat to you before it even truly began. The venerable Marcus Aurelius, in his profound meditations, once wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I have to go to work as a human being.' This isn't a mere suggestion, it's a stark, powerful reminder. You are not a fragile child who can afford the luxury of indefinitely delaying responsibility. You are not so inherently weak that you must surrender to the seductive grip of laziness. You are a human being endowed with reason and free will, and your fundamental duty is to act, to contribute, to live purposefully. So I implore you, why do you persist in hesitating? Why do you allow the comforting warmth of a blanket and the softness of a pillow to dictate the entire trajectory of your life? Why do you permit fleeting comfort to systematically extinguish the flames of ambition, allowing a mere few extra minutes of sleep to suffocate your grandest dreams? You will never, truly never, achieve anything truly extraordinary if your mornings remain habitually, frustratingly ordinary. Consider the case of Thomas, a man brimming with ambitious plans. He yearned to transform his life, to achieve peak physical fitness, to ascend to the pinnacle of his chosen career, and to embody the epitome of self-discipline. Yet, with each successive morning that his alarm clock bravely sounded, he instinctively reached for the snooze button, once, then twice, sometimes even a third time. By the time he finally dragged himself out of bed, an entire precious hour had already vanished. He would frantically rush through his truncated routine, leaving no time whatsoever for exercise, no quiet moments for strategic thought, no opportunity for meticulous planning. And then, as each exhausting day drew to a close, he would solemnly promise himself, "Tomorrow I'll do better." But inevitably, tomorrow mirrored today, which was an echo of yesterday, and thus the precious tapestry of his entire life slowly unraveled, consumed by the relentless grip of procrastination. Does Thomas's story reflect your own reality? Perhaps you might protest, but I'm not a philosopher or an emperor. I'm certainly not a warrior. I'm just an ordinary person. This is precisely where your perception is flawed. You are the warrior of your own life, and you are engaged in a daily, relentless battle, the profound struggle against procrastination, against debilitating laziness, and against the insidious pull of mediocrity. Your most potent, most accessible weapon, the very first conscious moment you open your eyes each day. So what is the decisive course of action? Rise the very second your alarm clock bravely announces the dawn. No protracted negotiations with your inner voice, no unwarranted delays, no desperate bargaining with the seductive allure of laziness. The fleeting sensation of tiredness is utterly irrelevant. The temporary absence of motivation is entirely beside the point. You do not require a specific feeling to initiate action. You simply act. Because if you perpetually wait for motivation to spontaneously appear, you will find yourself in an endless, futile state of waiting. Get out of bed, stand up, and immediately engage in something, anything, to send an unequivocal message to both your body and your mind. I am in control today. My laziness will not dictate my path. This could be a single push-up, the invigorating gulp of a glass of cold water, a minute of intentional deep breathing, or even just absorbing one profound page from a meaningful book. Any of these small, deliberate actions serve to assert your dominance over the day. And perhaps most critically, cultivate a compelling, deeply personal reason to rise each morning. Without a powerful why, your inherent drive will wither. Ask yourself with unwavering honesty, what exactly am I fighting for? Who is the transformed version of myself that I aspire to become? Can I genuinely accept a lifetime defined by mediocrity? You are presented with two distinct paths. Continue living precisely as you are, perpetually hitting the snooze button, relentlessly delaying your most cherished dreams, observing others advance while you remain ensnared by your own self-imposed excuses. Or you can choose to awaken, Step boldly out of the suffocating confines of your comfort zone. Declare to yourself with every fiber of your being, I will win this day. 3. Prioritize discipline over feelings. How many times have you, with absolute conviction, promised yourself that tomorrow would be different? Tomorrow, you'll finally rise early. Tomorrow, you'll diligently complete that workout. Tomorrow, you'll apply yourself with unprecedented focus to your work. Yet when tomorrow inevitably arrives, a disconcerting sense of déjà vu descends, and everything remains stubbornly, frustratingly the same. You succumb to the snooze button once more. You find yourself mindlessly scrolling through endless feeds for hours. Another precious day irrevocably slips by, and you realize with a heavy heart that you've accomplished nothing of true significance. Do you understand the insidious reason behind this recurring pattern? It's because, in essence, you are living as if you are addicted to immediate gratification, a subtle yet powerful form of modern-day dopamine addiction. Dopamine, contrary to popular belief, isn't solely the happiness hormone. It's primarily a powerful neurotransmitter that relentlessly drives you to seek rewards. Experience the fleeting pleasure of a delicious meal, dopamine levels surge. Receive a new notification on your phone, dopamine spikes. Mindlessly scroll through social media and stumble upon something mildly intriguing, another dopamine hit. The insidious problem lies in the fact that your brain, in its primal quest for rewards, doesn't inherently discriminate between what is genuinely valuable and what is merely effortless and immediate. And that, precisely, is how you become ensnared in this relentless trap, perpetually chasing instant gratification instead of painstakingly building a life of true fulfillment and lasting value. Your emotions, as a direct consequence, become utterly hijacked by this dopamine-driven reward system. Feeling a pang of boredom? Your immediate reflex is to open TikTok. Feeling overwhelmed by stress? You instinctively reach for a sugary snack or a comforting, unhealthy indulgence. Lacking motivation to tackle a daunting task? You opt to watch yet another inspirational video, hoping for a quick fix. And so you find yourself inexorably drawn into an endless, self-perpetuating loop. Each time you succumb to the allure of easy, immediate rewards, your brain internalizes a powerful, detrimental lesson. No sustained effort is required here. Simply seek out the path of least resistance, the zone of effortless comfort. Over time, this constant reinforcement subtly, yet powerfully, reprograms you into a being that is increasingly weak, fundamentally undisciplined, and tragically powerless against the arbitrary whims of your own fleeting emotions. But here is the profound truth you must, at all costs, confront. Your emotions are not to be blindly trusted as absolute guides. Do you genuinely believe you require a surge of motivation before you can take decisive action? This is a fundamental misconception. Do you think you must feel completely ready before you can even begin? Another dangerous illusion. Do you truly believe you need to be in the right mood to accomplish meaningful tasks? This is perhaps the most paralyzing belief of all. Truly successful individuals do not passively wait for their emotions to align. They care not one iota if they feel like undertaking the work. They are utterly indifferent to their current mood. They simply, resolutely, Do the work. To reclaim absolute command over your life, you must, with unwavering resolve, master discipline. No subtle exceptions. No convoluted negotiations with your inner resistance. Tired? Do it anyway. Bored to tears? Do it anyway. Utterly unmotivated? Paradoxically, that is precisely when you must do it the most. As the venerable Marcus Aurelius profoundly articulated, we should discipline ourselves in small things, and from these, progress to things of greater value. Discipline is the sole, unassailable force that will propel you towards your aspirations, not fleeting motivation, not ephemeral inspiration, only relentless discipline. If you cannot exert control over your own impulses and desires, how can you possibly expect to exert control over the intricate tapestry of your life? So how do you embark on this transformative journey of reclaiming control? Step 1. Ruthlessly eliminate cheap dopamine triggers. This means, with unwavering resolve, turning off superfluous notifications that constantly pull your attention. It means consciously limiting your engagement with time-wasting social media feeds. It means consciously curbing tendencies towards emotional eating. Your goal is to systematically retrain your brain to genuinely crave the profound rewards that emanate from true achievement, robust health, the acquisition of genuine knowledge, and the unwavering power of perseverance. Step 2. Forge discipline into an automatic reflex. This is achieved by consistent, deliberate practice, day in and day out, regardless of your momentary feelings or whims. Work diligently, irrespective of your current mood. Establish clear, non-negotiable rules for yourself, and then, with ironclad resolve, never break them. Banish the self-defeating phrase, "I'm not motivated," from your vocabulary. That is a convenient lie. You don't require motivation. You require decisive action. Step 3. Cultivate a profound embrace of difficulty. If something appears effortlessly easy, it's highly probable that it offers little genuine value. If a path is conspicuously rarely trodden, it is often precisely the one you must choose. The most profoundly meaningful achievements in life demand unwavering perseverance and the willingness to engage in arduous struggle. Systematically teach your brain that authentic, lasting rewards do not emanate from the soft cradle of comfort. They are forged in the crucible of sustained endurance. You may ardently desire success, but are you genuinely prepared to pay its formidable price? You may yearn for profound change, but are you truly ready to abandon the familiar yet debilitating habits of your past? You can intellectually absorb 1,000 treatises on discipline, but if you fail to take decisive action, in this very moment all that theoretical knowledge remains utterly meaningless. A city without its protective walls will inevitably fall to its adversaries, and a human being devoid of self-control will invariably be defeated by their own intrinsic weaknesses. As the Bible wisely warns, a man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Therefore, do not passively await an elusive surge of inspiration. Do not wait for a sudden burst of motivation. Do not wait for that mythical day when you feel perfectly ready. Take action right now, because once you achieve genuine mastery over discipline, you will, with absolute certainty, grasp a fundamental and liberating truth. Your habits, and your habits alone, fundamentally shape the entire trajectory of your life. And that, my friend, is the next profound lesson you are destined to conquer. 4. Your life is built on your daily habits. Have you ever stopped to truly consider the silent architects of your life? We often engage in seemingly insignificant daily actions without ever pausing to ask a crucial question. Why do I feel perpetually stuck in the same place? The answer rarely lies in a lack of inherent talent or potential. More often than not, it's because we unknowingly cling to a web of habits that subtly, yet powerfully, imprison our minds and limit our capabilities. A truly strong mind isn't forged in a single fleeting moment of high-minded thought. It is meticulously sculpted, brick by deliberate brick, by systematically clearing away the mental clutter and limiting behaviors we accumulate over time. You simply cannot aspire to the heights of a disciplined warrior if your mornings are habitually consumed by endless complaining, debilitating procrastination, and an incessant, almost compulsive, pursuit of superficial comfort. Complaining, while offering a momentary, almost cathartic release, is in fact a subtle yet profoundly potent toxin for the mind. When you find yourself grumbling incessantly about your job, your demanding colleagues, the unpredictable weather, or the infuriating traffic, you are, in essence, sending a clear, unequivocal message to the deepest recesses of your brain. I am utterly powerless. I am not in control of my circumstances. Worse still, you begin to deeply internalize this self-defeating belief, weaving it into the very fabric of your self-perception. While it may provide fleeting psychological comfort, it ultimately traps you within the confines of the very same unchanging reality you despise. Have you ever observed a truly calm, composed, and consistently solution-oriented individual who simultaneously engages in perpetual petty complaining? Mentally robust individuals, those who truly command their inner world, invariably choose one of two paths. Either they engage in decisive, impactful action, or they embrace dignified, discerning silence. If a situation presents an opportunity for remedy, they act with purpose. If it is entirely beyond their sphere of influence, they gracefully release it. Anything in between, any form of aimless grumbling or passive resentment, simply drains your vital life energy, leaving you depleted and disempowered. The next time you feel that familiar urge to voice a complaint, pause for a moment and consciously ask yourself, what tangible, specific action can I take right now to genuinely alter this situation? If the honest, unflinching answer is nothing, then take a deep, cleansing breath, consciously release the grievance, and gracefully, resolutely move forward. Another cunningly disguised trap, one that often escapes our conscious awareness, is the allure of comfort. We are relentlessly enticed by the soft embrace of the plush chair, the perfectly temperate room, the deceptively easy option, the well-worn, familiar path. Yet, paradoxically, the comfort zone is precisely the arid ground where genuine growth invariably withers and dies. Stoicism does not advocate for an emotionless, detached existence or a cold, indifferent demeanor. Instead, it champions a courageous embrace of discomfort, recognizing it as an inseparable and utterly necessary component of life itself, a vital catalyst for transformation. When you consciously choose to skip a crucial workout because you feel a fleeting sense of tiredness, when you remain stubbornly silent in a situation because you fear the slightest possibility of offending someone. When you perpetually postpone a vital decision because you feel unready, you are sending a clear, unambiguous message to yourself. Today I choose stagnation over genuine growth. True, profound growth doesn't exclusively emerge from what you intellectually absorb through reading or passively consume through listening. It arises directly and powerfully from your unwavering willingness to intentionally step into the crucible of discomfort, day after challenging day. Choose one small, seemingly insignificant thing that genuinely stretches your boundaries. Consistently wake up precisely 30 minutes earlier than your ingrained habit. Deliver a clear and confident no when such a refusal is truly necessary, or bravely attempt to learn an entirely new skill that initially makes you feel awkward, clumsy, and utterly incompetent. These seemingly minor acts, when consistently undertaken, are precisely how you systematically expand your inner frontier, pushing the boundaries of your own perceived limitations. We are also master architects of intricate, self-serving excuses. The reasons we construct often sound perfectly logical, impeccably rational, and utterly convincing. I'm simply too busy right now. I honestly don't have enough time for that. I'm just not that kind of person. However, the unvarnished truth is that excuses are merely elegant disguises for a deeper, more pervasive fear, the paralyzing fear of failure, the chilling fear of judgment from others, or the unsettling fear of profound, irreversible change. The inherent danger in constructing these elaborate excuses is that we gradually begin to treat them as immutable truths, allowing them to dictate our reality. Individuals endowed with truly strong minds do not fabricate flimsy excuses. They confront reality head-on with unflinching honesty, and they assume full, unwavering responsibility for their actions and outcomes. They do not passively await a fleeting surge of motivation. They act based on a clear, compelling reason and unshakable inner compass. Ask yourself this critical question: what specific aspect of my life remains stubbornly stuck simply because I continue to construct elaborate, self-serving excuses? There is one more deeply ingrained habit, often subtly ingrained, that we frequently overlook: the insatiable, almost pathological need for external approval. We are all, by our very human nature, wired to crave recognition, validation, praise, and universal agreement. But when your precious mind becomes subservient to the fickle opinions of others, you inevitably lose your authentic self. You find yourself contorting your true being to conform to external expectations. You hesitate endlessly over critically important decisions, perpetually agonizing over what will they think, and slowly, insidiously, your genuine, authentic core begins to fade into obscurity. A true Stoic profoundly understands that the only approval that genuinely matters, the only validation that truly resonates, emanates solely from the unassailable fortress of their own conscience. Epictetus famously and brilliantly wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." When you consciously shed the desperate, clinging need to be universally understood or loudly applauded, you take your very first decisive steps toward genuine, unadulterated inner freedom. Herein lies the beautiful, profound paradox. When you consciously and courageously release these old, debilitating habits, you don't experience a terrifying void. Instead, you are enveloped by an incredible lightness, as if you've meticulously cut away heavy sandbags from a hot air balloon, allowing you to ascend effortlessly to greater heights. You don't necessarily require more in your life. Paradoxically, you require less aimless complaining, less compulsive comfort-seeking, less insidious excuse-making, and significantly less craving for fleeting external validation. And in that profound process of shedding, you will inevitably encounter a version of yourself you have never truly known before, profoundly calm, remarkably clear-headed, and truly, utterly unshakable. Pause for a moment. Just one deep, intentional breath. Close your eyes if you wish and honestly ask yourself, am I actively, consciously nurturing my mind, or am I unknowingly sabotaging it, day after insidious day? What is the single most consistent habit I engage in that I know, deep down, is holding me back from my true potential? You do not need to embark on a complete, overwhelming life overhaul overnight. Simply start today with one singular thing, one specific habit you unequivocally know is limiting you. Stop it. No grand, sweeping promises, no prolonged overthinking. Just do it. Every small, conscious act of choice is a powerful, resounding hammer blow against the confining wall that has been imprisoning your willpower. And one glorious day you won't need to merely feign strength anymore. You will simply be strong. And then you will be truly ready for the next profound chapter, not merely eliminating the negative, but proactively building the good concrete. Daily practices to forge lasting inner strength, a solid, unyielding foundation that will remain steadfast regardless of how chaotic and unpredictable life inevitably becomes. 5. Is your brain wired for success? Overcoming limiting beliefs. Does your brain inherently seek your success? The answer, perhaps surprisingly, is not exactly. Imagine yourself standing on the precipice of a towering cliff, gazing down at the deep, inviting blue water below. You intellectually grasp that you are capable of jumping. The water is ample, and you've witnessed countless others make the leap with effortless grace. Yet your feet remain stubbornly rooted to the ground. Your heart pounds a frantic rhythm against your ribs, and a nagging, insidious voice in your head whispers persistently, "What if I get hurt? What if I execute it incorrectly? What if I'm simply not truly capable?" This isn't merely a fleeting moment of hesitation. It's a profoundly illustrative example of how your brain, in its most fundamental operating mode, functions. Its primary, overarching directive isn't the pursuit of your success. It is first and foremost the unwavering imperative of your safety. And sometimes that very primordial instinct for self-preservation, while vital, becomes the most formidable, most insidious barrier to achieving what you genuinely desire. This internal struggle, this subtle yet powerful resistance, is a universally experienced phenomenon. A remarkably gifted individual hesitates to even apply for their dream job. A brilliant mind remains stubbornly silent in a crucial high-stakes meeting, or an aspiring entrepreneur perpetually postpones the launch of their innovative business, paralyzed by the chilling, paralyzing fear of potential failure. These formidable, often invisible, barriers do not originate externally. They emanate from within you, from deeply ingrained, limiting beliefs you have, perhaps unconsciously, embraced and allowed to take root. If you fail to consciously recognize and bravely confront them, you risk spending your entire precious life confined within a self-constructed, invisible cage. Allow me to share the poignant story of Michael. From his earliest childhood, he possessed an undeniable, almost obsessive passion for painting, immersing himself for countless hours, completely oblivious to the passage of time. One day, brimming with innocent pride and hopeful anticipation, he presented a meticulously crafted drawing to his art teacher, yearning for validation and encouragement. Instead, the teacher, with a casual, almost dismissive tone, remarked, "It's not bad, but likely not good enough for you to ever become a professional artist." Those seemingly innocuous words, though perhaps not intended to be malicious or deliberately cruel, inadvertently planted a toxic, deeply insidious seed in Michael's impressionable young mind. For years thereafter, whenever he contemplated rekindling his artistic pursuits, an insidious, self-defeating voice echoed relentlessly within his subconscious. "You're simply not good enough. You're just wasting your valuable time." He deeply internalized this corrosive belief, and tragically, instead of courageously pursuing his artistic calling, he opted for a safe, predictable, yet ultimately unfulfilling office job. But here lies the critical, life-altering insight he tragically missed. His deeply held belief wasn't an absolute, objective truth. It was merely a thought, a fleeting cognitive construct, one which he had repeated to himself with such persistent frequency that it gradually solidified into his perceived, self-limiting reality. As the wise Marcus Aurelius so profoundly observed, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you stubbornly believe you are not good enough, you will unconsciously, almost reflexively, act in ways that consistently reinforce that debilitating belief. You won't exert your maximum effort, you won't take the necessary, calculated risks, and you certainly won't experience genuine growth. Ultimately, that self-imposed belief becomes a tragic, self-fulfilling prophecy. But what if Michael, in that pivotal moment, had dared to pose a radically different question? Instead of fixating on the debilitating thought, "I'm not good enough," what if he had courageously asked, "What if I genuinely gave it my absolute all?" What if he had resolutely refused to allow past pronouncements or external opinions to dictate the trajectory of his future? What if he had, with unwavering resolve, focused relentlessly on purposeful action over paralyzing fear? Such a profound, transformative shift in perspective would have irrevocably altered his entire life's trajectory. So how do you liberate yourself from these insidious, self-limiting beliefs that hold you captive? The crucial foundational first step is to meticulously identify these negative, self-defeating thought patterns. Pay exceptionally close attention to the insidious narratives you automatically construct within your mind. When confronting a significant opportunity or a daunting challenge, do you consciously detect internal dialogues whispering phrases like, "I'm not skilled enough for this," or "I'll probably just fail miserably anyway"? 6. Habits you must break to grow. Shedding the invisible chains. We often engage in seemingly insignificant daily habits without ever pausing to ask a crucial, deeply penetrating question. Why do I feel perpetually stuck in the same place year after year? The answer is rarely due to a fundamental lack of inherent potential or innate ability. More frequently, it's because we unknowingly, almost instinctively, cling to a silent constellation of habits that subtly, yet powerfully, imprison our minds. A truly strong mind isn't forged by fleeting moments of high-minded philosophical contemplation. It is meticulously sculpted, brick by deliberate brick, by systematically clearing away the vast accumulation of mental clutter and unhelpful patterns we acquire over time. You simply cannot aspire to ascend to the heights of a disciplined warrior if your mornings are habitually consumed by endless complaining, debilitating procrastination, and an incessant, almost pathological pursuit of superficial comfort. Complaining, while offering a momentary, almost cathartic release, is in fact a subtle yet profoundly potent toxin for the mind. When you find yourself grumbling incessantly about your job, your demanding colleagues, the unpredictable weather, or the infuriating traffic, you are, in essence, sending a clear, unequivocal message to the deepest recesses of your brain. I am utterly powerless. I am not in control of my circumstances. Worse still, you begin to deeply internalize this self-defeating belief, weaving it into the very fabric of your self-perception. While it may provide fleeting psychological comfort, it ultimately traps you within the confines of the very same unchanging reality you despise. Have you ever observed a truly calm, composed, and consistently solution-oriented individual who simultaneously engages in perpetual, petty complaining? Mentally robust individuals, those who truly command their inner world, invariably choose one of two paths. Either they engage in decisive, impactful action, or they embrace dignified, discerning silence. If a situation presents an opportunity for remedy, they act with purpose. If it is entirely beyond their sphere of influence, they gracefully release it. Anything in between, any form of aimless grumbling or passive resentment, simply drains your vital life energy, leaving you depleted and disempowered. The next time you feel that familiar urge to voice a complaint, pause for a moment and consciously ask yourself, what tangible, specific action can I take right now to genuinely alter this situation? If the honest, unflinching answer is nothing, then take a deep, cleansing breath, consciously release the grievance, and gracefully, resolutely move forward down another cunningly disguised trap. One that often escapes our conscious awareness is the alluring yet deceptive embrace of comfort. We are relentlessly enticed by the soft embrace of the plush chair, the perfectly temperate room, the deceptively easy option, the well-worn familiar path. Yet, paradoxically, the comfort zone is precisely the arid ground where genuine growth invariably withers and dies. Stoicism does not advocate for an emotionless, detached existence or a cold, indifferent demeanor. Instead, it champions a courageous embrace of discomfort, recognizing it as an inseparable and utterly necessary component of life itself, a vital catalyst for transformation. When you consciously choose to skip a crucial workout because you feel a fleeting sense of tiredness, when you remain stubbornly silent in a situation because you fear the slightest possibility of offending someone, when you perpetually postpone a vital decision because you feel unready, you are sending a clear, unambiguous message to yourself. Today I choose stagnation over genuine growth. True, Profound growth doesn't exclusively emerge from what you intellectually absorb through reading or passively consume through listening. It arises directly and powerfully from your unwavering willingness to intentionally step into the crucible of discomfort. Day after challenging day, choose one small, seemingly insignificant thing that genuinely stretches your boundaries. Consistently wake up precisely 30 minutes earlier than your ingrained habit. Deliver a clear and confident no when such a refusal is truly necessary, or bravely attempt to learn an entirely new skill that initially makes you feel awkward, clumsy, and utterly incompetent. These seemingly minor acts, when consistently undertaken, are precisely how you systematically expand your inner frontier, pushing the boundaries of your own perceived limitations. We are also master architects of intricate, self-serving excuses. The reasons we construct often sound perfectly logical, impeccably rational, and utterly convincing. I'm simply too busy right now. I honestly don't have enough time for that. I'm just not that kind of person. However, the unvarnished truth is that excuses are merely elegant disguises for a deeper, more pervasive fear, the paralyzing fear of failure, the chilling fear of judgment from others, or the unsettling fear of profound, irreversible change. The inherent danger in constructing these elaborate excuses is that we gradually begin to treat them as immutable truths, allowing them to dictate our reality. Individuals endowed with truly strong minds do not fabricate flimsy excuses. They confront reality head-on with unflinching honesty, and they assume full, unwavering responsibility for their actions and outcomes. They do not passively await a fleeting surge of motivation. They act based on a clear, compelling reason, an unshakable inner compass. Ask yourself this critical question: what specific aspect of my life remains stubbornly stuck simply because I continue to construct elaborate self-serving excuses? There is one more deeply ingrained habit, often subtly ingrained, that we frequently overlook: the insatiable, almost pathological need for external approval. We are all, by our very human nature, wired to crave recognition, validation, praise, and universal agreement. But when your precious mind becomes subservient to the fickle opinions of others, you inevitably lose your authentic self. You find yourself contorting your true being to conform to external expectations. You hesitate endlessly over critically important decisions, perpetually agonizing over what will they think, and slowly, insidiously, your genuine, authentic core begins to fade into obscurity. A true Stoic profoundly understands that the only approval that genuinely matters, the only validation that truly resonates, emanates solely from the unassailable fortress of their own conscience. Epictetus famously and brilliantly wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." When you consciously shed the desperate, clinging need to be universally understood or loudly applauded, you take your very first decisive steps toward genuine, unadulterated inner freedom. Herein lies the beautiful, profound paradox. When you consciously and courageously release these old, debilitating habits, you don't experience a terrifying void. Instead, you are enveloped by an incredible lightness, as if you've meticulously cut away heavy sandbags from a hot air balloon, allowing you to ascend effortlessly to greater heights. You don't necessarily require more in your life. Paradoxically, you require less aimless complaining, less compulsive comfort-seeking, less insidious excuse-making, and significantly less craving for fleeting external validation. And in that profound process of shedding, you will inevitably encounter a version of yourself you have never truly known before, profoundly calm, remarkably clear-headed, and truly, utterly unshakable. Pause for a moment, just one deep, intentional breath. Close your eyes if you wish and honestly ask yourself, am I actively, consciously nurturing my mind, or am I unknowingly sabotaging it? Day after insidious day, what is the single most consistent habit I engage in that I know deep down is holding me back from my true potential? You do not need to embark on a complete, overwhelming life overhaul overnight. Simply start today with one singular thing, one specific habit you unequivocally know is limiting you. Stop it. No grand, sweeping promises, no prolonged overthinking, just do it. Every small, conscious act of choice is a powerful, resounding hammer blow against the confining wall that has been imprisoning your willpower. And one glorious day, you won't need to merely feign strength anymore. You will simply be strong. And then you will be truly ready for the next profound chapter, not merely eliminating the negative, but proactively building the good concrete. Daily practices to forge lasting inner strength, a solid, unyielding foundation that will remain steadfast regardless of how chaotic and unpredictable life inevitably becomes. 7. Small wins every day make the difference. How many times have you, with unwavering conviction, promised yourself that this time things will be different? How many meticulously crafted plans have you laid out for a more disciplined, a stronger, a more unequivocally successful life, only to find yourself with a disheartening sense of inevitability, slipping back into the worn, familiar grooves of old, self-sabotaging habits? How many times have you reached the end of a day, a week, or even a month, and with a sinking feeling realized that you've accomplished nothing truly meaningful, nothing that genuinely moved the needle forward? There is absolutely nothing inherently wrong with experiencing a setback or even a temporary failure. But here lies the genuine, insidious danger, the pervasive, often unconscious belief that profound transformation and lasting change only occur through a single dramatic breakthrough, a sudden, grand turning point, a magical, instantaneous shift. You find yourself passively waiting for motivation to strike like lightning. You wait for the elusive, perfect moment when all conditions are ideal. You wait, and in that perpetual state of waiting, you remain stubbornly, tragically stuck. Wake up to the unvarnished truth. Life simply does not operate in such a simplistic, fairy tale manner. Truly successful individuals do not passively wait for the fabled perfect moment to arrive. Instead, with unwavering resolve and consistent effort, they create it. And they achieve this remarkable feat not through colossal, superhuman leaps, but through a meticulously cultivated series of small, consistent, almost imperceptible steps taken diligently day after unwavering day. Consider the inspiring narrative of Mark. For a significant period of his life, he felt utterly adrift, caught in a cycle of underachievement, not because he lacked inherent ability or potential, but because he was consumed by the grand illusion that he needed a massive, instantaneous overhaul to change his life. He yearned for a more fulfilling career, but never consistently invested in honing his skills. He desired a physically strong, healthy body, but every time the thought of embarking on a workout crossed his mind, he felt an overwhelming, paralyzing sense of dread and impossibility. Then, one pivotal day, he dared to try something remarkably simple, almost deceptively so. He abandoned the pursuit of massive, daunting goals. Instead, he committed to just one small, tangible action every single day. Perhaps it was a mere 5 push-ups, or the intentional reading of just one page from a profound book, or simply jotting down one concise note about a task that absolutely needed to be completed. A week slowly passed, and those seemingly insignificant actions, repeated with quiet consistency, gradually solidified into deeply ingrained habits. A month later, the act of exercising was no longer a burdensome chore, but an almost natural, integrated part of his daily routine. A year from that initial small commitment, Mark was unequivocally a profoundly different person. There was no magic involved, no sudden dramatic breakthrough, just a persistent, unwavering accumulation of small, consistent wins, repeated over and over again, until they meticulously sculpted a massive, undeniable transformation. Observe those who consistently achieve truly great things in life. They do not miraculously awaken one morning and suddenly find themselves infused with extraordinary abilities. No one, truly no one, becomes a master in their chosen field overnight. Every monumental achievement, every profound transformation begins with a series of small, deliberate actions executed with unwavering consistency. That, precisely, is the silent, powerful principle by which Arnold Schwarzenegger transcended his humble beginnings as a struggling Austrian boy to become a global bodybuilding legend, then a film icon, and ultimately a political leader. That is how Thomas Edison, through thousands of perceived failures, meticulously persevered before finally illuminating the world with the invention of the practical light bulb. So what then is the fundamental problem that holds so many back? The problem is an insidious tendency to overthink. You allow your complex mind to control you, instead of asserting your rightful control over it. You hesitate then. With perverse logic, you manage to convince yourself that you are not truly ready. You become ensnared in the labyrinthine confines of your own self-defeating thoughts. And the only definitive way to shatter those mental shackles and break free is to take immediate, decisive action. The next time you find yourself confronted with something profoundly important that you genuinely need to do, but simultaneously feel that familiar wave of debilitating hesitation, try this incredibly simple, yet profoundly effective technique. Initiate a silent countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then, without allowing a single millisecond for doubt or second-guessing, act. Do not give your cunning brain any precious time to engage in internal negotiations. Do not permit even the faintest whisper of an excuse to creep into your conscious awareness. Just do it. Get unequivocally out of bed. Consciously pick up that book you've been meaning to read. Send that uncomfortable yet crucial email. Walk with deliberate purpose into the gym. Just move. Do you recall the last time you gazed into your own reflection in the mirror and with a pang of unsettling recognition Wondered why you hadn't fundamentally changed, why you still seemed to be stuck in the same old patterns? Do not, under any circumstances, allow that profoundly disheartening moment to recur. Marcus Aurelius, in his timeless wisdom, once famously declared, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Stop endlessly debating with yourself about what you should be doing. Simply be the person you aspire to be through your actions. Pick one singular, undeniable thing from your daunting to-do list, and with unwavering resolve, get it done. Right now, if you commit to moving forward, even by a mere fraction, every single day, then a year from this very moment, you will find yourself undeniably, profoundly further along your chosen path than you could ever have imagined. But if you persist in your hesitation, if you continue to allow inertia to dictate your trajectory, then a year from now, you will, with depressing certainty, still be trapped in precisely the same place. Or, even worse, you will have inadvertently fallen even further behind. And then you will be forced to endure the same crushing cycle of regret, the same tormenting what ifs all over again. As the Bible wisely observes, whoever watches the wind will not plant, whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. If you perpetually wait for perfect, ideal conditions, you will, with chilling certainty, never truly begin anything of significance. If you constantly wait for the right moment, you will, with tragic inevitability, never achieve anything truly worthwhile. So, I urge you, do not wait for a mythical tomorrow. Do not fall into the trap of believing you require a massive, immediate transformation. You simply require one small, undeniable win today, one resolute step, one deliberate action taken right now. And tomorrow, another win. A year from now, you will gaze back with pride and profound satisfaction, marveling at how far you have courageously traveled. But if you choose to do nothing, absolutely nothing, do you truly understand what the inevitable outcome will be? A year from now, you will still be precisely where you are today, still stuck, still trapped in hesitation, still burdened by the crushing weight of regrets. You don't truly want that, do you? Then, in this very moment, begin your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. 8. You are the only one responsible for your life. Have you ever looked deeply into your own eyes in the mirror and, with a profound sense of introspection, genuinely asked yourself, why is my life precisely like this? Why do your most cherished dreams remain stubbornly confined to the realm of fantasy, never quite materializing into tangible reality? Why do you find yourself perpetually ensnared in a job that drains your spirit, in relationships that feel dull and unfulfilling, or inhabiting a body with which you are deeply unhappy? And perhaps most difficult of all, have you ever dared, with unblinking honesty, to admit, even if only to yourself, that you and you alone are the primary architect of all these circumstances? It may sound undeniably harsh, even brutal, to hear this truth articulated so directly, but it is nonetheless the unvarnished, undeniable truth. No one else bears the ultimate responsibility for the trajectory of your life but you. Not your parents, not the educational institutions you attended, not the prevailing political climate, not the arbitrary whims of luck or fate, only you. Perhaps, At this very moment, you are recoiling from this uncomfortable assertion. Perhaps you are instinctively inclined to believe that the world is inherently cruel, that you were never truly given a fair chance, that you are merely an unfortunate victim of circumstances beyond your control. But pause for a moment and genuinely consider the logical conclusion of holding such beliefs. If you stubbornly persist in believing that external forces are solely to blame, where will that perspective ultimately lead you? If you continue to deflect responsibility and cast blame onto everything and everyone around you, what fundamental aspect of your situation will ever truly change? The answer is a resounding nothing. You can spend an entire lifetime consumed by complaint and grievance, but complaining, in its essence, will never forge you into a stronger, more capable individual. You can cast blame upon the vast, indifferent world, but the world, in its relentless march, simply does not care about your grievances. You can assiduously avoid assuming responsibility for your choices and their consequences, but in the final analysis, it is you, and you alone, who will bear the full weight of the suffering and stagnation that inevitably ensues. There is only one immutable truth that truly matters. You are the ultimate cause of your current circumstances. And with this profound realization comes an equally powerful, liberating truth. If you are the cause, then you are, by extension, also the sole, inherent solution. Everything begins and ends with the fundamental quality of your mindset. What you profoundly believe about yourself and the world directly determines how you act. And how you consistently act in turn fundamentally shapes the entire fabric of your life. If you deeply believe you are incapable of change, then you will inevitably never even make the attempt. If you stubbornly believe you are not good enough, then you will, with chilling predictability, never genuinely grow or expand your capabilities. If you are deeply convinced that you are merely a helpless victim, then you will, without fail, live your entire life as one. But if you cultivate the empowering belief that you can indeed change, then the entire landscape of your reality begins to shift. If you genuinely believe you possess profound control over your life, you will cease complaining and with newfound purpose begin to act. If you truly believe you are strong enough to face and overcome life's inevitable challenges, you will, with unwavering resilience, always find a way to conquer them. So the most pivotal question to ask yourself is this: what truly do you believe about yourself? There is a simple yet profoundly uncomfortable truth that most people instinctively refuse to accept. Genuine success does not magically descend from the heavens as an act of arbitrary luck. Instead, it is meticulously forged from a myriad of small, seemingly insignificant decisions consistently repeated, day after unwavering day. Do you yearn for a healthier, more vibrant body? Then, with resolute determination, physically remove yourself from the inertia of the couch and commence the disciplined journey of consistent physical exertion. Do you aspire to a more fulfilling, impactful career? Then cease squandering your precious time on meaningless distractions and, with focused intent, invest it in systematically enhancing your skills and expanding your knowledge. Do you desire a richer, more meaningful life? Then cease the futile act of waiting for some external catalyst. Begin doing. Truly no one is going to undertake this arduous journey for you. No one will physically drag you out of bed each morning when the alarm blares. No one will compel you with benevolent force to consistently make the right, difficult choices. The responsibility, the power, and the ultimate outcome rest entirely upon your shoulders. Perhaps at this moment you are thinking that this truth is profoundly unfair. Perhaps you are convinced that others were blessed with a more advantageous starting point than your own, and perhaps in some cases they were. But that undeniable fact does not, in any conceivable way, diminish or negate the fundamental truth that only you possess the power to fundamentally alter the trajectory of your own life. Consider the poignant case of Thomas. Throughout the entirety of his adult life, he stubbornly believed he was irrevocably destined for a life of quiet mediocrity. He harbored a deep-seated disdain for his demanding, unfulfilling job, but never once actively sought out an alternative. He passionately declared his desire to achieve physical fitness, but consistently failed to engage in any form of regular exercise. He frequently asserted that he simply didn't have time, yet every single night he compulsively spent countless hours mindlessly scrolling through social media feeds. And then, one day, with a sudden jarring clarity, Thomas realized that absolutely nothing in his life was changing, precisely because he himself was doing absolutely nothing proactively to effect that change. It wasn't because he lacked opportunities. It wasn't because the world was conspiring against him. It was solely because he adamantly refused to embrace personal responsibility. That could, unsettlingly, be you. You can persist in living precisely the same way, continue waiting for a mythical future, continue constructing elaborate, self-serving excuses, or you can, with resolute determination, rise up and decisively do what absolutely needs to be done. But always remember this profound truth. If you don't do it, no one else will. If you don't choose to change, nothing around you will fundamentally shift. And if you consistently refuse to take full, unwavering responsibility for your life, you will, with tragic certainty, always remain a mere bystander, never the true architect, never the one firmly in control. Are you genuinely willing to look back 10 years from now and be consumed by a torrent of profound regrets? Are you willing to allow your most cherished dreams to quietly, tragically wither and die simply because you were too ensnared by inertia or too fearful to act? Are you truly at peace with the knowledge that you possessed the innate capacity to achieve so much more, yet you consciously chose not to? If your honest, unblinking answer to these questions is a resounding no, then the time for action is not tomorrow or next week. The time is now. Do not wait another precious second. Do not labor to construct more convoluted excuses. Do not waste another fleeting moment on activities that lead you nowhere. Get up right now and decisively do what absolutely needs to be done. We've just embarked on an exploration of 8 powerful, transformative principles that possess the profound capacity to help you master your thoughts, exert genuine control over your emotions, and cultivate the unyielding discipline necessary to meticulously shape your own destiny. But it is imperative to grasp this final, crucial point. None of this invaluable knowledge truly matters if you fail to translate it into consistent, purposeful action. You can nod along thoughtfully, intellectually agree with every profound insight and then with unsettling ease slip right back into the familiar, comfortable patterns of your old, limiting habits. Or you can choose with unwavering resolve to stand up right now and initiate a meaningful, lasting change. No one is coming to rescue you. No miraculous intervention is waiting just around the corner. It is simply you confronting a profound, fundamental choice. Remain perpetually stuck where you are, or boldly seize the reins and take absolute control of your life. This journey through Stoic wisdom is a path of continuous cultivation. It's about understanding that confidence, resilience, and inner peace are not innate gifts, but skills honed through deliberate practice and a profound shift in perspective. By choosing your beliefs wisely, by actively reprogramming your mind, by embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, and by mastering your emotional responses, you are building an inner fortress that will serve you throughout your life. Remember, self-belief isn't born from external validation. It's forged internally through consistent self-affirmation and disciplined action. When you embrace this truth, you don't merely take control of your destiny. You become its true architect, ready to forge your unshakable mind. If this deep dive into Stoic principles has resonated with you, if you're ready to cultivate a powerful mindset, take command of your life, and unleash the strongest version of yourself, then the journey has only just begun. Hit like button if you found this video insightful and empowering. Your small action can help someone else discover this transformative wisdom. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your personal story of overcoming self-doubt or facing adversity might be precisely what someone else needs to hear today. And most importantly, subscribe to StoicCraft to join our growing community. There's so much more valuable content coming your way, meticulously designed to equip you with the tools to live with unparalleled consistency, calm, and control. Don't miss out on your path to inner mastery.